RACs in the EOC, we are the Auxcom desk, which is kind of a branding thing.
Auxcom desk, is that?
Auxcom desk, yeah. So there's a phone number, there's an email, happens to be mcesg@winlink.org, right? So it's always there. And then we also provide liaisons, CERT liaisons to GMRS frequencies, particularly channel 3, which is the EM channel. And one other thing, it's escaping me. Oh, they're drilling with us. So yeah, so a lot of drills, a lot of exercises. And in the process, we also have quite a number of encrypted P25 radios that certain credentialed members now are authorized to use, including myself. So when we talk about this Auxcom interface, we cross the ARES boundary, right? We're into the RACs realm, and we're really proud of that. I talked about the VHF data channel. We've done a number of things with emergency management, including a couple of, we had a booth at the Hurricane Expo. They sponsor a Hurricane Expo every year. We had a big turnout there. A couple of training programs with the National Disaster Preparedness Training Council on hurricanes and coastal hazards. And I think that covers it. So if anybody's got any questions. It's been a busy 3 months, right, Jack? You got anything to add? Okay.
I don't know if you want to tell about the repeaters.
Yeah, we're making progress. I don't know that we have anything to announce yet, but when we kind of started this thing, and it's been 2 years now, but when we started this thing, I thought we had one repeater, and it was pretty dysfunctional. That's what we call Man 8. It's a 2-meter repeater in downtown Bradenton. Pretty dysfunctional. Come to find out, the county, and this is a beautiful thing, the county owns all the resources, and our resources are deployed on county sites. And so when we developed that relationship with the county radio division, they started fixing stuff we didn't even know we had. We have 5 repeaters, and 4 of the 5 are in excellent working order now. I'm happy to announce, and we're about to put another one on the air on top of the water tower at the dam on Lake Manatee. So East Manatee is going to have wonderful coverage, 200 feet on UHF. So we're really excited about that. So, anything else? Jack's the trustee of all these. That's why his head's spinning with these things.
He's your technical person. All right, thank you. And Randy, do you have any reports from this county here? Take the mic.
Well, I mentioned our repeaters.
Flip it or just hold it.
We eventually hope to replace that UHF repeater. We are at a point with the company that does radio maintenance for Highlands County, that Highlands County owns our repeaters. They are county repeaters. They have been asked to give us bids on replacing all of our feed lines and antennas on all the repeaters. I have also requested, when they do that, we've had a perpetual problem with the 2.7 repeater here. It's always been a troublesome repeater. So I made the request that we replace it with the UHF repeater. They have a bid on that, but things have been on hold because our emergency manager resigned back in April, and the interim person was not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole for obvious reasons. It's a lot of money. And so I'm waiting for the new person to come in starting Monday and let him get his feet on the ground, and then we'll start talking to him about, are they going to carry through this contract or not? We have been negotiating with the local health department about getting a radio in there when we're active. That's being taken care of. We discovered that they actually have an antenna up. We were going to put one there, and discovered there has been one installed there for a long time that I didn't know was there at all. So that project is carrying through. We do work with one hospital here. I still say Highlands Regional. It's a new name, and I don't know what it is. HCA Florida. Okay, thank you. We do have a radio there and antenna. One of the employees has it in her office, and she is one of my ARES people. We're trying to see if we can get some people at the hospital to get a license and have some people there who are licensed and able to use that radio when we're active. It was put in at their request. They came to us and said, can you help us out? So working on that one. The other hospital, local hospital, has no interest in us. We got our communication system. We don't need you. They need to listen to Craig Fugate. They don't listen to me. If you're interested about our HF antenna, it is on the fence back here. You're welcome to go there. The gate over there will open for you when you come up to it. So no problem going around the building this way and going out right back here. And you can see the antenna there on that fence. It was put up for field day and it worked fairly well then. And we said, let's just leave it there and see what happens. And we did so, and they've not complained. The only problem is we've got about a 200-foot run of coax that we are trying to figure out how to install permanently. I'm going to be in negotiation with my contact person at the EOC about a way of doing that and see if we can work that out. I worked for years to get HF antenna and NHS antenna at this EOC on a permanent basis. We were working on a basis of when we go active and there's a storm, as soon as the storm is passed, we run out and we put up an antenna. I said that last summer to the then current emergency manager. She said, absolutely not. You're not going to do that because I don't want you running around out there immediately after a storm. Let's figure out how to get an antenna up permanent. And I said, well, actually we have one. And she said, okay, for the antenna down here. It's just a matter of working out coax runs. We are active as an EOC on the EOC net. That'll come up in a moment. I routinely check us into that unless, like this past Wednesday, I got an invitation to go fishing. And I said, well, and I went fishing. So we routinely check into that. I routinely check Highlands County into the South Florida net. And of course, I run the Saturday morning net. So I'm routinely on that one. And let me put another little plug in here, by the way. I also participate in the Florida Phone Traffic Net as a guest for exactly the reason that I mentioned a moment ago. I want those people to know who I am and how well my signals get around the state, because in an emergency, that's going to be a valuable contact. Milk those things for all you can. We have had a group that's working to do GMRS in this location for doing emergency communications. The county has had bad problems with CERT teams and so forth in the past. They're not in the least interested, and I've got to maintain a relationship with the county, which means I back off from that group too, because I can't stick my neck out and risk our relationship. I would like to hear some more from Steve, from you. If you can send me some of the stuff you've done with that, along when you send me the other stuff, I would appreciate it. Just so I do have some background in that. They are putting up a repeater. If you're traveling on 66, shortly before you see 635 that goes over to Highlands Hammock State Park, there's a tower there, and they're going to put a GMRS repeater on that tower. We'll see what unfolds out of that. I've got a lot of questions about it because of problems that have existed here before. I'm in a current situation where over half of the people who are normally here for ARES meetings are off on vacation. I hope we don't have a storm, not just because I don't want a storm, but because if we do, I may have a problem activating shelters. So we may be saying help if that happens. We'll just have to see. So,
Well, mark your calendar for the weekend of September 17th through the 18th. Because I have to go to Newington for a section managers meeting, so.
No storms on that
Nope.
date.
no storms.
That's what will happen. You'll have a category 5.
Well,
permit
yeah.
here.
Oh, boy.
But I think that's, let me put in one other word on the EOC. If you did not sign in the front lobby, please make sure before you leave that you have signed in on that sheet. That was pushed at me very strongly. Every time I've talked to them, the word comes, make sure visitors sign in. They've had a problem with it in this building. So please do that if you have not done so.
Can I fake my name?
One question.
Can you fake your name?
I'm just gonna say, they're gonna count heads and they're gonna say, well, we check in automatically with our, by the way, our EOC is very open with ARES members. We go through a county background check, which has been a problem for some people. With COVID, they backed off from that. But we have full access to this half of the EOC, any ARES member. I'm a little bit uncomfortable with that, but that's the way they do things. Good working.
Okay, thank you. I enjoy listening to what's happening. And, okay, is that Gary? I would like that written down. So I have, all of your accomplishments. I think it would be great for other people. Steve,
So my accomplishments,
well, that has happened in your county.
so I submit a report once a month.
I'm missing that out. I'm missing out on that.
Talk to the gentleman sitting right there.
I
I
shall.
forward it to myself, and then it goes to your net manager's reports, I believe, go to Doug, into the, they go to Doug and me.
Okay. Well, I haven't seen them, so I would like that.
Well, that's why we do them. So, yeah, I won't do it if there's no value to it.
Well, I think there's a lot of value to it
Where's
because
Joe?
I would take some of this stuff and put it into like an article that I would send about, what's happening in our section. And maybe it would encourage other counties. I don't know.
I've been doing this for 2 years. I thought that there was somebody that's actually reading.
Randy sends the report to Lee
It
headquarters.
does for me headquarters.
So what the hell's Newington got to do with it?
Amen.
Well.
It should be going to all of us,
what
10,
they are
and
doing
then,
with it is saying to groups that they have MOUs and so forth, with, they can say, here's the information, what area is doing.
I know, because I put in there for about 6 months. I said, is anybody reading it? I never really did that. I knew that.
oh, wow. All right, well, if I get it, I'll definitely read it and I'll appreciate it. And
Well, I'm
also,
not sending it to you. It goes in officially. You ought to get that.
all right. We will,
Get your act together.
we'll work. Yes, we're going to do that. Okay.
Yeah. Those are just now reports. Yeah. But we all fill out this thing on the website every month.
Well, yeah, let me put a word in here. You say we all. I routinely get 5 of the 10 ECs to report. Not always the same. With Steve is very consistent. I give him credit for that. If I don't see Steve on there, I'm thinking, man, something seriously is happening here, because you're always there.
Well, why am I doing that?
Because
Well, if you're doing it now, I will make it worthwhile, make it worth your time to do it.
Going the other way.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, that's the
Yeah.
idea. We should all enjoy one another.
It also does give information to the league and they're working with Red Cross, et
Yeah,
cetera.
that's just
Okay,
bureaucracy.
Okay, I inadvertently cut Bill off. I'm very sorry. I thought he was finished. He was not finished. Take the mic and whatever. And yeah, I hope you're putting it up so I can get this, so I can encourage other people with your accomplishments.
One of the other things we've made that around and we're putting up UHF and VHF repeater antenna at the top. Hundred 800 system, but there's nothing there for that we can put the amateur antennas. So they're putting up 150-foot commercial tower for just our antennas. So those are major inroads in my mind. The other things that have happened is when they did the media day at the beginning of hurricane season for the news media, we were asked to set up a table and talk to the media. This year's disaster preparedness document that goes out to all the residents has a blurb in there about amateur radio, about 2 inches or so. We're being asked to go and talk to some of the groups. It's part of their outreach program. So we're really getting engaged with them and taking what I would have called a good situation and making it better. So they're even paying for the EOC employees to get their tickets. So
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off before. Daryl, are you speaking for Hardy County?
I guess I can.
Do you have a report you can give us?
So we'll have the audio. Okay, I've gotten together another list. I'm gonna be sending it to Molly on Monday, a wish list for this year or next year or 10 years from now, if they ever get any money to spend on us. But other than that, Mike is checking in on the SARNet on Wednesdays. He's doing that.
I would hold off on that list right now.
Okay.
She's the only one in the office now. They, what's her name, moved on to another department.
Oh,
She's-
no. Okay. Well, so, but that's, at this point, that's where we are and not a whole lot's been going on. So it's just me and Mike and maybe Ken, if he's able to help us, just 2 or 3 of us. That's it. That's it for the Harding County report.
Okay,
Well, I'll add to that.
okay.
I speak loud enough. I don't need that thing. Comes from my days of yelling at 90 kids at Midway or O'Hare Airport, boarding them on flights to Washington DC. I could talk from one end of the hall to the other, and every other passenger in the terminal could hear me. I have a big voice. So. I am working on, Daryl's aware of it, some of you are aware of it, of getting an FDARS repeater in Hardy County. The thing that I'm got now through with and Andy Miller from FDARN is I got to find out what feed line he wants and needs and what type of antenna. After that happens, they'll drop in a repeater at our EOC. And we'll be part of the FDARN system at that point. What does the acronym FDARN stand for? Florida Digital Amateur Radio Network. It's a DMR network, but I see it as another possibility to have along with analog. And I know some people have fusion in their counties. So it's just another tool in the toolkit.
Is that gonna be radio brand specific?
No, well, they are gonna have a Motorola repeater, but any DMR, like any tone, a TYT, any of those will work through the system.
Fusion? No. No, it's DMR, not Fusion.
Not Fusion.
Unless you have a hotspot and then you can jump between the two. But
Okay. Polk County, we've been doing a lot with different frequencies. Do you want to talk a little bit about what's going on? Are they looking at a DMR repeater for our county? And
Well, basically what we,
I just got a text from somebody, they couldn't hear Steve, or couldn't hear
your
you.
mic, okay.
really?
In Polk County, we're like the emergence of Manatee County, but we've been blessed to have an EM director, assistant director, and all the techs, all the radio techs are all amateur operators. So we've got an infrastructure that's just unique. We do have 4 linked repeaters, 3 UHF, 1 VHF that are linked by 220 that has a footprint from the Orlando airport to the Tampa airport, basically portable, which is pretty remarkable. At the same time, they have placed 2 DMR repeaters, fixing to be a 3rd. You got to remember, Polk County is larger than the state of Delaware. So, I mean, it's over 2,000 square miles. The 2 DMR repeaters are also at 400 feet. They're at opposite points of the county. They are connected by intranet that goes to the internet, which means if the internet goes down, which is always the thing that people say that's not really radio, if the internet goes down, they are still operational, and they are operational at opposite points of the county. So we have analog as well as digital points in the county that cover well beyond the boundaries of Polk County. In fact, I keyed it up with Mike in Arcadia, sitting in my truck. So it's got a pretty good footprint. The 3rd one will be on the east side of the county, which will bridge us almost over to Vero Beach. So those are all linked, and it also links into Claremont as well. So we also just added, talking about digi repeaters, we just added another WinLink repeater, and I had it up just a second ago. And Russ may have to give me the frequency 145, 590.
Oh, 145, I'm sorry, 144,
95, wasn't even close. So we have 2 WinLink repeaters that are operational now as well, both on 2 meter, as well as the APRS in Bartow. So
Where is that one? Where is that frequency?
it's in Tenor Rock, which is going to be on the north central side of the county. By the way, the Polk County School Board, if you didn't see it, the Polk County School Board has now a repeater on the air, amateur repeater on the air, because they're encouraging school-based clubs for amateur radio countywide. And so they put a repeater at 150 feet at Tenor Rock. And it's 146.865 with 127.3 tone. Good coverage for the northeast section of the county. We're very, very, very fortunate to have what we have, with a lot of support. The school board supporting amateur radio as well as emergency management. So we're good to go. The tone for that repeater is everything in Polk County is 127.3. And the other thing I'll add real quick, talk about CERT. One of the CERT teams in Polk County just applied and were granted a repeater. So their amateur club has a repeater on the low frequency 12.5 amateur repeater frequency. There's one that's 441. Can't remember what the rest of it is, but it is 12.5. So they're operating a repeater. They just put a brand new Bridgecom repeater in. And they also, for their non-amateur folks in their circuit club, they put a GMRS repeater in right beside it. So there's a lot of good stuff going on, and that's Lake Ashton. And they have a lot of cool stuff going on. And those repeater frequencies, by the way, are available if you have someone that needs a low power repeater frequency. Those are available. There are 9 of them.
They're called itinerant.
They're called itinerant pairs, but the state assigns you the tone. So you can't just, so that's the only repeater in Polk County that's on an oddball tone.
I have a good question.
Bringing up more digital in the area. And I know in my county, a lot of the people are doing the digital with hotspots, like Daryl said. But when I put my EC hat on and look at it, there's so many people that aren't on digital that we've got to keep the core repeaters, the core frequencies we put on our 205 as analog. And it concerns me as some of these get changed over to digital. Has anybody else got that concern, or am I'm an unfounded area?
Well, I know at my EOC, digital is not. I mean, they're accommodating it, and in case of emergency, I know my EM is going to be on 2 meter and HF, and that's what he believes in. Yes.
Christine, this has been a-
So this is,
why we need a field operations guy. This man just rattled off 20 different frequency pairs that potentially could be used for emergency, and none of us knew anything about it. So somebody needs to collect all this information from all 10 counties in one common point, and we need to publish it. And so if you're getting deployed to Polk County, you might have a chance of programming in a proper frequency in order to operate.
But Clayton has done that, or at least he's tried to.
I haven't seen it.
I saw it just last week.
Okay, how is he distributing it?
It's a Groups IO thing, and he just sends the link, and you can click on the link. I got the email from him last week.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, yeah,
But
no, he's made a valiant effort.
We need a repository for all this
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. And I think it's a good one.
Every week.
Well, what's your distribution? How do you?
Just basically for the Central Florida area. I'd love to have all your stuff. I'd love to have pages at the bottom, but I just can't get, I have spent hours trying to find out what's operational in Manatee.
So mine's on the website.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking for Manatee County, we use, and so does Sarasota, we use the inventory sheet, ICS 217. And mine's
Charlotte's on their website too.
mine's on the website.
Charlotte County is.
Charlotte also.
And I made a run at this exact same thing. I sent mine out to everybody in this room a year ago and got no response. Okay. Clayton started his online thing. Again, it's another spreadsheet. It's great. It's got more information than mine had. So I sent all my stuff to Clayton and it's on there. So I think it's good. I think it's good, but I think it's the ECs need to communicate. I don't think we're not going to get a West Central Florida thing.
I am trying to develop that, and I will send out things, but I get an email from somebody who just gave me their main repeater frequency and said, this is published everywhere. That's where our EOC is. But I
don't think you need to reinvent the wheel.
No, but I want all those other things, like everything he just spoke of.
But that would all be on it. That's already there. Did you look at Clayton's spreadsheet that he sent out last week?
No.
He sent it to
Was
all
it
the
a-
ECs.
It was like on the IO links?
Yeah.
I'll have to look at that.
Yeah, you need to look at that.
Okay.
And we all have access to it, so we can input our own information right there on it. So it's a central repository.
Staff areas.
can,
IO.
Yeah.
Okay.
This
Staff,
is-
okay.
Staff.
No, it's a Groups IO page for the area's staff in West Central
So-
Florida.
so can I make a
All right.
comment to Bill's question? This is
Sure.
Tom, K9XV out of Charlotte County. And Bill, I just want to kind of let you know the philosophy that we're using here is that 2 meter analog will always be there. 2 meter analog covering the county. 440, we've kind of reserved for enhanced services such as digital services and such. So as far as 2-meter analog, it is going to always be there. So we're not converting any of the
Okay,
2-meter
thank you.
analog to digital.
Okay, right now we are at 1 hour into this meeting, and is Craig Fugate waiting online? He's not online? Was he ever online?
Ever since we got connected finally.
Wow, because I did send him an email and tell him we were working on it. All right, so if he's not online, then I'm just gonna, do we have,
Tell them they can unmute. They won't do their report.
all right, so we've had Hardy, Highlands, Hillsborough, Manatee, Polk, Sarasota.
Sarah, Gary's online.
Okay,
WB9AYD, he's online.
well, let's have him do it.
Gary, unmute yourself.
Okay, I can barely,
Hang on, go ahead and unmute yourself again. Go ahead.
okay, I can barely hear what you asked, Daryl. I don't know what the question was. I'm sorry.
Go ahead and give your county report.
Okay, all right. Hopefully you can hear me okay.
We have good audio. Go ahead.
Okay, good. All right. Well, for Sarasota County, just want to comment back on Bill's question about the digital side. Same thing that Tom talked about from Charlotte County. We do everything analog. If I had to require or include digital, I would lose probably 90% of my volunteers. So we stick everything on our 217, and the applicable 205 from that is all analog. You will not find a DMR repeater or anything else like that. So for the purpose of the emergency communication side, we put everything analog because we got so many repeaters and so many options here on our 217, and we use the 217 as our master form. So that we rely on. And if we're going to do any combination of all the counties, I'd love to see that format used, the 217. We don't need all the detail that comes with contact information and all that, because I look at that as that's the EC's responsibility to manage all that. It doesn't need to be on a great big 10 county roll up, but that's just one person's opinion. If we at least agree to collect all our frequencies and put them on a 217, now you got yourself a good document that we can all live by and support. As far as Sarasota County goes, we did have an exercise this morning. Unfortunately, I was not able to participate in it. Tim KO4HP was on there, I believe, managing that net this morning with John. So we did our monthly exercise this morning. We also did this past week a Red Cross shelter drill. So because we're based out of the Red Cross that supports 5 counties down here, they did a shelter drill. So we had a number of us that went and participated in that and basically observed to try to learn as to what's required. What do they do? What do they go through when they set up when they walk into a facility, and how do they set it up? And then how do we interface with them as operators, Oxcom operators with them, inside, outside, remotely, whatever, and what kind of information gets passed. So it was a very worthwhile exercise from that standpoint. As far as everything else goes, we still do our regular weekly drills on Thursday nights. We do what's called a simplex drill. Also, we're fortunate that we have a radio that we can run remotely off the top of the EOC tower, 210 feet. So we will run our conventional net, and then we'll run a a simplex net right after that, just to kind of spot check where everybody's located using a VHF analog typically. And we can run cross analysis, if you
We
will,
lost your audio.
of the cross analysis of the simplex side. So,
Okay, we got it back.
all right, are you guys back? You hear me all right?
I've been hearing you just fine, Gary.
Okay, all right. I know they're having problems there, I guess. So it's been a struggle to hear. The audio has been very choppy. Anyway, I'll stop with that because there's others to speak. So that's it from Sarasota County. We're keeping busy, keeping it going.
All right, well, thank you. I don't think we have anybody from Pasco. Do we have any representatives from Pasco?
Just unmute yourself if you were here.
I know they just got a brand new EC up there. EM, I'm sorry, a brand new EM. No. Do we have Pinellas?
And they went into DW.
Does he have a report?
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Same neck of the woods. Apologize.
DeSoto?
It is across the bridge.
Oh. Yeah, they're way up there.
You mind taking Charlotte County?
Sure, I would like to hear from Charlotte. Go ahead.
Now, can anybody see a screen at all?
Unfortunately, not where I got set up there.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, we just happened to have our meeting, so I just happened to have my PowerPoint up. So, okay. So, we're up to, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, this is Tom Chance.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, EC for Charlotte County. And we did participate in field day. We took our go kits to all the radio clubs within Charlotte County, ran into Mike and MDD. Anyway, we put together all of our UHF, VHF go kits, sent them to the 3 local radio clubs, the CARS Radio Club, which is the Charlotte County, the EARS, which is Inglewood, and the PRA, which is Peace River. We shipped 24 messages between the radio clubs and the EOC, and that worked out very, very well. And we also had WinLink training. CARS actually created a WinLink training course for the people that attended field day. Our next exercise is going to be the 28th. And let's see, anything else? Oh, yes. We are rebuilding the stadium site. Gary, you'll be interested in this up in Sarasota. So the K8ONV repeater will become the N4 EAR up at the stadium site. And then we are going to put in permanent internet and a permanent installation for W4 DIG-11. So I'll give you a heads up when everything moves and is all linked up. Have been working close with our CERT people, CERT. We have just trained 10 more people. 10 people got their license. 8 of them got their tech, and 2 of them got their tech and their general license. And we just got another 12 people who are ready to take the class again. So we're going to have a class in September. The tech class runs 4 weeks, 2 hours a week. On a particular day, we do 2 of them virtual, 2 of them in person. And on the 4th class, we actually administer the test. So, so far, so good. It's been a great recruitment tool. And we've gotten a lot of good people and a lot of good people who are definitely into the service of the community. Everything with the EOC has been working great. I want to apologize for not getting on 3940, but the new antenna will go up in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully we can meet everybody on 3940. So with that, back to you.
All right, thank you. Do you see Craig standing by? He said he is standing by.
I'm not sure what numbers the waiting room is engaged. No.
I just got a text from him, so I don't know. Is it the, it's, he had the direct, the address that's on the West Central Florida website, right?
Because everybody else came in on that.
All right.
Nope, he's not on here.
Um,
All the books are local. Meeting rooms off, so you can come right in.
I'm gonna text him and say, we just don't see you online.
Well, SARNet probably is not a reasonable tactical.
Here, let me put this up.
I didn't mean to interrupt the agenda.
No, that's okay. It was on there and then I,
So
asked to
the
take it off.
topic is the statewide amateur radio net, SARNet, and the weekly Wednesday 1300-hour Florida State EOC net. There you must be credentialed. It is a closed net. You must be credentialed by your emergency manager to check in. I think that's also a very good net. It's a training net. It's a training net for net control operators. While it might not be the most advantageous in a tactical situation, it is a statewide situational awareness tool that we absolutely need to make use of. And I just wondered if anybody else had any insight into SARNet.
Well,
Yeah.
it did work well in Michael, except for the couple of legs down at the fan panel that the towers were on.
Okay.
But it worked well during Michael.
Okay, Mike said it did work well during Michael. I mean, Bill from Hillsborough said it worked well during Michael, and I'm gonna give the floor to Sanford.
Sanford Cam4 WXX, Sarasota County. I'm one of the certified net check-ins for it, and Bill's one of the net control stations for it. One of the problems that I've noticed is that there's a lot, not a lot, but there are counties that don't have access to it because of tower location. Now, those people, Bill will vouch for this, that system came about from the old radio system towers that were along the interstate. And, there's no interstate up Highway 27, for example, so there's no towers through there. But the group has put together some towers. For example, they put one up in the Skyway. It's on top of the Skyway tower. Then they are adding towers in addition to those original DOT towers. But DeSoto County, for example, I've talked with Doug Christ over there, and they can't get into it. I know that Randy has time to time, he has trouble getting into it from Highlands County. Mike, he has trouble getting into it. He has to go to the EOC. And sometimes he can't even get in from there. So, it's a good system, but it's not bulletproof. So that's something to keep in mind. It's a good thing to be involved in.
Yeah, the major the major access that we have is through Lakeland. And Randy, EZM is saying the same thing. And so I'm going to talk to them because I know they want everybody to be part of it. And I'm going to tell them if that's what they really want, then they need to add to their system because there are people that are left out. And right now we have a lot of chatter. Everybody's talking about it. I know there are a lot of people who want to get into it and or that would get into it. And I had trouble getting into it to begin with. So it's a limited access net. And it's on Wednesdays. Wednesday, I plan to give them a hard time and tell them if they're not going to go, at least with a couple of repeaters on 27, they're just not going to have quite a few of our counties in the west central section. Okay.
Christine, they are also running a 40 meter net.
Yeah, you can.
After the SARNet net, they do go to 40 meters. I don't remember the frequency.
Yeah, I don't know. What is it?
72. Thank you. I have not been checking into that because I've been checking in from here to get to Lakeland. I can from home, but it's very poor.
Very nice.
And setting up the HF here means running a long length of coax to do it, and that's a so I've not been doing the 40 meters, but they are collecting information on that net. Data meter usage.
Okay. Thank you. A lively discussion. EOCs that need to make a report. Tim, is he there? Oh, I didn't notice that. I didn't. You were there. We're not sure. We're fighting over whose Tim that is. Okay. But it's not Tim from, it's not the Pasco Tim. So we don't have Pasco. Did we have Sarasota? Soto? No, Soto. That's what I thought. And no Pinellas. Okay, well, he's not. I don't think he has a report as such. Okay, if we can't get Craig Fugate on here, I am very disappointed. Maybe we'll try again when we're in an EOC that has better connectivity. That this antagonistic thing between ARES, which is ARRL, and then FEMA, or if they put it under CISA or something, the Oxcom group. And my personal feeling is the very best thing you can do is have a really good relationship with your emergency manager. I mean, if you don't know them, if they don't know you, if they don't know what ham radio is or what it does, you should take them to lunch and make a nice list, and you should talk to them and just talk yourself up and tell them how wonderful you are, how much help you can be, all of the things that you can do for them in case of emergency, all the places you can help. If you do CERT teams, we have wonderful CERT teams in Polk County, and I am totally spoiled. I understand that because everybody that I work with above me in my county, I'm the county EC, everybody above me is a ham. And they all understand ham radio, and they all know our capabilities. And if there is a disaster and there's a place for us, oh, they're going to call us. We will have a place. Even when we have the ramp ups, I have a place at the table. I'm called in as the EC, so I know what's happening. So that's the goal, is so that your emergency manager knows you and knows what you're capable of doing and knows how helpful you can be and how skilled you are. Let them know. I mean, my goodness, you can do anything, give you some wire and build stuff. I mean, I've watched people use it, just plain old ordinary extension cord, and turn it into an antenna and get on the air with it. And so we can do stuff. We're inventive, we're creative, and we have technical people that are way over my head that can do things. And in an emergency, when everything's messed up, they can still do things and they can still get the job done. And they're still very, very useful. And so you need your emergency manager to know that. If they know nothing at all about ham radio or who you are or what you can do, why would they be looking for you in an emergency? But if FEMA says, oh, we've got these Oxcom people, they're like, oh yeah, we need some help. And they may bring in somebody that's not familiar with your area. But if they're familiar with you and your ability, you're right there. You're going to be the first ones that they call. So you need to get to know your emergency managers. You need to know your plant managers. I mean, that's Paul Womble and Greg Becker in Polk County. I know both of them. Sat down and talked with them. We know each other and we know what we're capable of. And for me, one of the good things is I have so many good helpers. I mean, I have the former section manager, the former EC, which has now moved into a position in Tallahassee with Red Cross, AG4LT, and FHP, who's worked with Florida Highway Patrol and radio comms forever. And so I have a lot of people that can work, and because my brain does not handle numbers right. I am terrible, I have to be honest, yes.
For you, Christine, control on the EagleNet. I know you have dyslexia and so forth, and a lot of times you get it backwards. Always correct it. Always did it right.
All right.
I'm just gonna get you to say Highlands plural instead of saying.
To me, it always sounds like I'm saying Highlands. I don't think it's Highland. And it just, to me, it sounds like there's an S in there. I'm sorry, you just don't hear that S. All right. So that's if I can't get Craig Fugate on here, that's my advice to you. Get to know your section or your emergency manager and make sure he knows who you are and how wonderful you and your ARES group are and all of the benefits they can give right there in their own county right away. As soon as the disaster is coming, just let them, don't wait till then, let them know before then, so that they know that there's help that's going to be on site. Winds die down or whatever it is. So that's what I would say. Craig, of course, if you've ever listened to him talk, he's amazing. And he has a lot of good things to say. So let's see. What else did I want to talk about? We talked about that. A couple of weeks ago, was that a week ago on SARNet or on EagleNet, we had an emergency come in. One of our older hams just got on here and said, gave his call sign and said, I'm trapped in my home. I need help, send the police. So it just boom, out of nowhere. So I just said, all stations, please stand by. I tried to call Florida Highway Patrol. I forgot the star in front of it, my bad. So then I just called 911. Of course, I got Polk County, told them who I was. I was a ham radio operator. I was relaying a call from Pasco County. And so the emergency was in Pasco while I was in Polk. And they were very cool with that. We gave them the address, which I didn't, the guy who gave me the street address, first of all, I didn't write it down right, or I didn't hear it right, one or the other. And then secondly, he was pronouncing the name of where he lived in a really strange way. So when I finally figured out what he had said, I'm like, duh. Anyway, I know those two things were my problem, but we did get him emergency help. The police had to break into his house and they had to work at he was trapped. I don't know where he was trapped. He didn't come back and tell me. He was elderly. I later learned that he had other physical difficulties. But in response to that, W4PXE has David Rockwell. He's our, yes. This is a draft. This is not the final copy, but he wrote, this is a white paper. It's not done, but it's an idea of what you would do if that ever happened to you. And I sent it to all the ECs in their email or in the IO and also from my Yahoo account. So this is there. When he gets it completed, and he's sailing to Europe, hasn't been on the water for a while. When he got the whole net to stand by, you get the name, you get the address. And then the biggest thing is, I should have done this and didn't, was go to QRZ and get the information in black and white to tell the emergency operators. But anyway, so because of that, we're going to have this and we'll probably put it up somewhere on the net. And now I'm going to give the floor back to Mike Douglas, who has something to say to all of us. And well, first you need the mic. I know you're loud. You need the loud. I know you're loud, but you're not loud enough. I'm sorry.
I'll get my megaphone out.
Good. There it is.
And over here we have a high pressure and all right, first off, let me say I have a question, something that came up here. How many different IO groups do we have in the section? Shouldn't we have just one that you can all get into?
We have sections, we have officers. What else do we have? We have
Isn't that overkill?
technicians.
Isn't that overkill? Am I missing something here?
It's just an address.
But I mean, as a section, shouldn't we just have one repository?
Well, we have one for Section ARES personnel. There's a cabinet list for your cabinet. You can,
So why not just put it under one banner and then have file drawers or whatever?
there's an IO group's IO list for each interest area. There's some conversations you want to have your cabinet, you might not want public.
I have nothing to hide as a cabinet member.
Well, some of us might.
And it also brings up, you were talking about this report that you put out, Steve, which I do get, I see, comes around through the back door. Do you know, as section manager, I'm not allowed to see the SEC's monthly report?
You mean the league, don't want you to say it.
Yes, I'm not allowed to see that.
Well, Randy sent you a copy, but we're not going to send it.
Yeah, I know, but it's surprised, it really ticked me off that I'm not allowed to know what she does or whomever. I'm on a roll now because I have been section manager just under 2 years. And assuming I'm around January 1, I've been feeling my way through this for the first 2 years. And I am now come to the realization that going forward, I'm going to have committees for various things. In other words, if I want to bring on, if we lose an EC in a county, I'm the one that's supposed to look at replacing that person. But I'm going to get the ECs together and say, okay, we need to find somebody. Who do you recommend? And I'm going to do that for cabinet level as well. I'm not afraid to take the heat. That's the part I love, as Darrell well knows. I love being the heavy and taking the heat, but I want input from everybody throughout the county. I mean, 10 counties. Because as I'm fond of saying, I know we all have our little idiosyncrasies, but I at least want us all reading from the same sheet of music in general. In other words, I realize you have a brass section, you have strings, you have woodwinds, you have percussion, and they all play a piece in the orchestra, but at least they're all looking at the same sheet of music, and that's how I want to see the 10 counties. And what I handed out today is one of the things that I'm kind of referring to. Public information officer, and I'm going to have my colleague, Mr. Lunsford, speak to it as well, if he will. My job as section manager is to look for qualified candidates. And normally I would say, okay, Darrell, you're the new whatever, or Christine, you're the new what. But now I want to get a committee together, and majority is going to rule as far as I'm concerned. We're going to hash it out and say, okay, well, 6 like this guy and only 4 don't. Well, that's how we're going to work it. And that's how I see it going forward. This public information officer seems to be some confusion there. Public information officer really is a position where you tell Channel 8, you tell CBS, ABC, CNN, well, here's what's going on, and we're having a Rap River run. That should be put out there for the public to know about. And that's essentially what, am I correct? Essentially what a public information officer does. And it's the title, that position is countywide. It's not under one organization. If you are an ARES group, you can have a public information officer, and it doesn't have to come through me at that point. But if you want a countywide one, or you want a countywide EC, whatever the case may be, that comes through me. But there again, I'm not abdicating that. I'm just going to get a group of good minds together and say, this, what do you think? How do we go about doing this? And that's how I'm going to move forward. Yes, Bill.
Mike, did I understand you right? If I want a new PIO for my organization, which is a county level organization, I've got to go through you?
No, you. If you want it as a county organization for all of the clubs, you have to come through me at that point. Right, right.
Yeah, I was gonna say you want to clarify.
So it's a section PIO.
Right.
ARRL, public information officer, you approve that.
But if you want one for your ARES races, you don't have to do anything with me. Okay.
I think Chuck had a question.
I just made a couple of notes here on this, possibly a couple of slippery slopes within the dialogue. It's describing this public information officer. One thing that it doesn't really say is who has the authority to release information off of an incident for the group. It's the incident command.
Right.
So if it's that county, it goes through the EC. If it involves the entire section, it goes through you. So never does a PIO have that.
Right. But your county decides who you want that PIO to be to disseminate that information.
The other thing that I saw there was in a few places, it talks about making direct contacts with the news media. This, if it's something that has just with your organization and not with.
Oh, agreed.
So that needs to be spelled out there. It really should be in 2 sections. Public information of not an incident, but public relations. So there would be a public relations.
Well, that's one of the things I want to clarify when I go up to Newington in September. because I'm going up, he knows, I'm going up with a, I'm not going up there to have a lot of fun. I'm going to, hey, well, case in point. One of my pet peeves, not ECs per se, but along about November, December, when all of the New Yorkers, the Illinois, all of them, the snowbirds come down for the winter. I go out to the list. Wait a minute, I've got 19 ECs and I only got 10 counties? Because they're an EC up in Buffalo, New York, they come on the roster down here as an EC. That shouldn't be. That just flat out should not be. And that's going to be one of my beefs when I go up there.
The other part of it, Bill, is as far as if you're working for, we have no jurisdictional rating, you're always working for a jurisdictional agency, is that you become part of that joint information center for that agency. That is so important that that's in there, because a document like this would be scary to an emergency manager.
Well, we need to sit down and that's one of the things we should go over and get it changed. I'm all for that.
Chuck's point, PIO is an official position. We do not have that authority. Ever.
What I've done with my PIO, she's tremendous at it, is I got her in lockstep with the county PIO and fire rescue PIO. Couple of reasons. One, reaching out to the television stations, they're the ones with the connections. So like we want to reinvent the wheel. But two, so that we have that top level coverage in an event. And conversely, we find the county PIOs helping us with stuff. One of the things that they did is this year's media event, they pulled us into it and had us set the table. And so by having her work in lockstep with them, and when we go to full activation, her seat is actually in the PIO group, not my radio.
But if I'm not mistaken, Bill, you don't have a PIO in Hillsborough County.
Yes, I do.
I look up on my list and it doesn't show up.
I haven't sent you the updated list in a couple months.
No, see, that's the thing. You can't do the county one. I have to approve
You
it.
just told me I could.
You, for your ARES racing,
right.
for the county, like the ABC Radio Club, they can have a PIO.
Do the radio clubs.
What I'm getting at, each county is supposed to have a public information officer hired by me.
Okay.
That's
what my question was earlier, because, well, I oversee all the ends in the emergency. I have my PIO,
that's
but I
fine.
don't touch the clubs as far as their public information.
Yeah, I
Then-
think that's the difference, Mike. There's no PIO in emergency management. Clubs, not the area.
Right. That's what I'm getting at. Oh, I understand that. But he wanted me to approve it, and that's one I don't approve. I approve one that tells all the news stations, here's what's going on in Charlotte County, here's what's going on in Hardy County, that type of thing.
If they're ARRL, PIO, then it's under you.
Right.
But if they're an ARES PIO, it's not.
I have no control over that.
Yeah, ARES is a grassroots organization. See, that there's the thing, if they came under you, at least the way my county works, they would be very concerned if they're talking about an event, Hurricane X, that your PIO is putting out and talking about our people and stuff, and they haven't had a
If you look at that, that's not really where they're going with it, though. They're going with, let's get new hams into the organization. Let's talk up the,
It should be. But the risk, so the opposite side of that coin is the risk that we face as ECs is that we're going to have well-intentioned volunteers talking to the media. We can't have that. No, in fact, the blanket is no, don't editorialize. You only read what PIO gives you. It's not an internal decision.
any thoughts, Mike?
That's correct.
Yeah, okay. Because she had a situation that ham radio played a key role in it. This exposes not the situation, but exposes ham radio as being told. So that can be a
That's why I would be with the clubs, I would be with the general ARRL, with the pension population, fundraising, all of that sort of thing. So it's not an area. function.
Right, I never said it was.
Yeah, right. So I'm just trying to clarify.
Before I moved here from Minnesota, I was the Douglas County, Wisconsin PIO. And I started to take the ARRL PIO course, completed it as a priorities, but ARES does have PIOs under the ARRL.
That doesn't make it right. Sorry, doesn't make it right. We don't speak to the incident.
They're our served agency. The incident command is our served agency, not the ARRL. The ARRL has no authority and has no accountability.
Fire scene or some other where the incident commander is out in the field.
Yeah.
That's the incident commander. And that incident commander can have a PIO under the ICS structure.
Yes, shall have.
The areas group can also have their own PIO to speak to the amateurs.
Not an incident command, they cannot. No, not an incident command. I'm sorry, I just disagree. That's
As
all.
areas of races, we have two customers. The first one being our service agency. and the second one being the general public.
Tend to agree with Steve is the incident command is the one that needs to be releasing the information about the event unless the event's in the past and you're quoting off of a released document. This is why I've got my PIO working right with the county and the fire department's PIO is so that anything that goes out is approved, even if we're putting it out. The county's already released it. Yes, that's correct.
That's the right. That's the right.
What I think we're doing is we're comparing apples to oranges here. If you read that document, they don't even talk about ARES or RACES. It's just about if you want an ARES RACES PIO, I have no problem with that. Go ahead and do it. But if Hillsborough County wants a PIO just for general, then that's where I come in.
Agreed. And this document basically is one facet of what my PIO does. And-
Fine.
But you're right. She goes out and she works to help get us exposure to bring new people into ARES RACES. By default, we're bringing in new hams and we push them to the clubs. But yes.
Well, see, that's one of the things I want to take up to Newington too. I think we need to change this up a little bit.
Well, I suggest what we all hear is in the description I look at here, it's a public relations officer, not public information.
Okay, I buy that.
That would solve the whole problem right there. If this document, if I started reading it, it says public relations officer, it would have made absolutely good sense. It would not have been a problem. There's where your conflict is.
Well, that's
They're using an
basically,
ICS term for something that's not being described properly.
that's basically how I see my title here in the organization. I've never felt I was a section manager. I'm a section facilitator is how I see it. That's the real title. I'm not here to manage much of anything. I'm here to make your jobs easier and facilitate that.
Thank you for doing that, because I'm sure there's 75 other sections out there that are asking the same kind of questions. But, yeah, that needs to be- more of a public relations role like that. But make it a little bit clearer, they're really to help the clubs in the county or in the section get out to this, to the media per se. When I read that, I looked at how is this person going to help me as the EC? And so hence my concern when you brought it up, but that needs to be clearer in the document.
Well, I take that, I'll take that at face value, and when I go up there, I will talk to them. Of course, it's probably not gonna change overnight, but if we can get that change.
Probably.
Yes, Mr. Jimmy.
I think something we need to keep in mind is this document is what is on the ARRL website. This is an ARRL. If you're going to be an ARRL sanctioned PIO to promote information about public amateur radio, this is it. In reality, this has nothing to do with emergency communication.
Right.
Working at incident and something like that. A ham is not going to go in and officially release, information from an incident or something. They'll do it once. They won't do it again. This is about, at the very maximum. This will be, that's what this is. And I think sometimes the role of PIO update the blog and the Facebook page. And so that it's making sure we understand what the roles are involved here.
And there should be some requirements for that position description as well. Maybe the title should change, but also there should be some, must have this training or this year.
All right, we've got a lot of comment going on, and I'm trying to run around and get everybody's. All right, one thing I want to.
Let's just get on with the meeting.
One thing that I wanted to say is that there should never be a conflict. Like if the incident command PIO says one thing and the ARES group is saying something else, that's really bad for everybody. And so that's why there should only be in any incident one official voice that's telling you what is going on. And so that's all of the emergency stuff. I like the idea of relations. I think relations is a better word than public information.
You tell them suckers up there, the ARRL has never had, nor will they ever have. I send my dues money up there. I'm asking them to petition Congress for frequencies and all that neat stuff. But when it comes to responding to an emergency, I don't need them sending go kits down or sending all recommendations. We'll handle it locally. So once again, in my mind, after being a ham for over 50 years, the ARRL does not have
I'll call them.
yeah.
Well, now. director and ask that EM director, what do you need from us?
I would say, what can we do for you? We should
No,
bring a list.
it's the other way around. Yeah, the Aries groups, this, that, and the other thing. What do they want from us as the ARRL? What do they need from us?
So I think that's a better way to put it. Don't come in and say, here's what we can do for you. Don't do that.
Oh, I wasn't planning.
Section D, these list and look for gaps, right? Very first one is on Craig Fugit's list. It says, don't ever, 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 ever lose communications with Tallahassee. That's number one, if you read Craig Fugit's list, right? So, or your state EOC.
No, I'm not going in there with any preconceived notions. I want to know what they really feel. That's how I'm approaching it.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely right. And they will welcome it because they know what ham radio is. They do. Yeah. These folks have been around. They're first responders. Yeah.
In some cases, no. Many cases.
Well, okay. Yeah, I might be able to. Generally, they've used a radio in their first responder careers or whatever. So.
I'm done.
All right.
Okay. Oh, everybody wants to adjourn?
I do have a couple of comments.
Comments? All right.
I don't need that.
You sure? Okay.
It's not coming through that well.
I don't care. Number one, just one closing comment. I think we could have stayed on track a little better if everybody would have had an agenda from the get-go.
I did send them out.
Oh, I didn't see it. I apologize.
I brought printed copies and I was so busy with this.
Okay. Secondly, and please don't let me step on anybody's toes, but I'm probably going to. If in 25 minutes, we can't get Zoom set up before the meeting, let's record it and move on, because then it became a distraction. And so I think so much effort was put into getting this going. That was great, but it became a subject of conversation and we could have been meeting at that point.
Okay. The only thing I have before we adjourn is the next meeting, which is going to be in October. And I had put on the agenda, I had looked at the calendar at the beginning of the month, 7 and 8 is the Ham Fest in Melbourne. And I've been asked, would you all like to have a section meeting? Or should we try and have a section meeting for the entire, not a section meeting, just an ARES meeting at the Melbourne Ham Fest? Maybe we can get the north and south sections to visit with us there. And a south section, Ben Henley was their emergency coordinator. He had taken that position. So there's going to be somebody new at that, if we have a meeting for all of the ARES officials and members to come to, we're going to have someone new in that position if he makes it. So I can call it. Yes, sir.
I understood we were going to be discussing
how many communications happened during Michael? From whom, to whom, what way, and so on and so forth. That's what we need to know to sell to our stakeholders, is concrete evidence of what we need to be doing. And we need to get it from the EOC personnel, that's true. But we also need to understand as ham radio operators what is expected of us. And we can't do that without information about major disasters like Michael was.
Okay, we did plan to have Craig Fugate here. The internet kind of messed that up and we could not bring him in, but that was the goal of this meeting. And so I will try to, next meeting will be in Hillsborough and we will have internet. I know that's a long way from you, but you can come in on Zoom. We'll have a good Zoom connection from there and you are welcome to ask anything you want of him. So I'm sorry we couldn't get that done.
I might note that my contact person here at EOC, the assistant secretary, myself and my council members and discuss some of those points.
Craig Fugate also has a great YouTube video that everybody should watch. It's about 45 minutes long. So just look for Craig Fugate, Fox Uniform Golf Alpha Tango Echo.
It had nothing to do with Eric and Michael. It was not with
Details of each EOC probably has records, old records of the messages sent during a particular incident. But we don't have any idea.
Right.
Really of a big one. Fortunately here in Highlands County, we haven't had a big one like Michael.
Yeah.
Hit the panhandle and so forth.
Week 5 shelters. I can't get enough hams to staff 45 shelters. But we have already 10. But we have already 10 because the other side of the coin people don't want to listen to, but it's already happened, is the 800 system going down and we have to put people with the battalion chiefs.
Got it.
And while, yeah, they're on good towers, they've got good vertical antennas, yada, yada, yada. I was looking at it over the last couple of weeks. Every one of those towers are linked by microwave.
Yeah.
And microwave inherently gets repositioned by good winds. So the risks of the 800 system going down is realistic.
So when I went in and I asked that question, I was surprised because evacuation shelters didn't come up. So I said, what about evacuation shelters? And he said, oh no, this was the chief of emergency management. He said, oh no. Oh no, evacuation shelters are shelters of last resort recovery phase. You're not going to ride out
And they don't have any shelters because they're in schools and the schools want to reopen. So we send we send,
Has responsibility for 7 counties, and they do. Long-term at homes go.
a ham operator in every shelter, but you have to remember if the cell back to where we were, the 7th and 8th, I can call a meeting to see who comes. I'll just put it on the agenda for Melbourne. Probably around 1 o'clock, we'll have a meeting. If anybody shows, that's good. If they don't, yeah, I can go home. Then again, I had put down October 22nd. And I got an email back saying that's when they're doing the, what's it called? Pedal to the shore or something. And I know that Daryl is going to be involved involved in.
We normally do the fall at Fort Myers.
No, Melbourne.
You're talking about is the MS Cycle to the Shore. It's in St. John's, Flagler, and Volusia counties. It's something that Scott Roberts, the new section manager of North Florida, heads up the communications team. I go do that. I did it for the first time last year, and I'm going to do it again this year.
Okay. Okay, it's in October.
22nd. So
So I don't even have a preference. Entire meeting. And we had some lively discussions and worked out some stuff. And I'm sorry we didn't get to all of your questions, but that was pretty good. I want to thank you all for coming. And if there's nothing else, all right, we're done. Did anybody not sign the sign-in sheet? If you didn't, I don't know where it is. Do you have it? Who's got it?
All right. Okay, now we're back on my view here. We're going to end the stream here in just a moment in the YouTube recording, and thank you very much for your participation.
Hey, Daryl,
Yes, Jeff.
there was a
You'll have to
special
unmute
weather
yourself.
statement just put out. Did you see it? It's for Northern Highlands County and South
It's the wrong
Polk
card. Go
County.
up, down.
The storms are building up to the north,
All right.
to the northwest.